We at Foreign Visitors View continue our road trip through Portugal.
We are moving from Bragança to the picturesque town of Miranda do Douro. It is located near a canyon on the Douro River, which serves as the border between Portugal and Spain in the area.
One could also get from Bragança to Miranda along the roads among the Portuguese mountains.
If going through Portugal, the turn to Miranda do Douro would be here.
But we decided to take the highway through Spain.
Turned out to be simple. No border guards or customs officers. Welcome to the EU.
The border runs along this gorge.
First of all, we went through Spain to compare the architecture of churches.
Look, these churches seem rather distinct compared to the ones in Portugal.
Secondly, to save money, the price of fuel in Spain was lower than in Portugal.
Cheaper indeed.
Thirdly, we decided to see how the Douro River flows in the mountains of Spain.
We saw this river when we traveled through Spanish towns.
For example, we crossed the Douro on a bridge in the city of Zamora.
And in Portugal, we crossed this river by car along the Portinho Dam.
In the city of Porto, we crossed the bridge across the Douro River on foot.
And we even sailed along this river on a motorboat.
From the road that leads to the city of Zamora, we turned to inspect the dams with power plants on our way to Miranda do Douro.
The first, called Ricabaio, is located on the Esla River, a tributary to the Douro.
Its construction began in 1929 and it started providing energy in 1935. The second stage of the power plant was finished in 1999.
The dam is 99 meters high and 270 meters long.
The reservoir created by the dam stretches along the Esla River for 58 kilometers.
On the left, look at the hugeness of this reservoir.
And we crossed it over the bridge. This one, to be exact.
Near the dam, there is a village of Ricabaio de Alba, 32 kilometers from Miranda do Douro.
The Villa Campo Dam is located 1 kilometer from the confluence of its tributary Esla into the Douro River. The construction was started in 1943. The first stage of the hydroelectric power station was launched in 1949 and the second in 1977.
The dam is 50 meters high and 300 meters long.
The village of Villa Campo is located near the dam,
which is 23 kilometers from Portugal.
This means that we will soon leave the hospitable junta of Castile and Leon.
And if you are interested in getting to know both Spain and other countries, do not forget to subscribe to our channel.
And also smash the like button, gently.
Driving along a straight, flat road, can you even believe that we are high in the mountains?
But in the distance, to the right, houses on the slopes flicker.
Perhaps they are already in Portugal.
Probably. It's 13 kilometers to Miranda.
We begin to descend along the serpentine into the canyon through which the Douro River flows.
On the other side, behold, the city of Miranda do Douro.
Here is a temple on the hill, one of our next destinations.
As we descend, the approach to the dam opens to us.
The road sign in Spanish says Presa, that is the dam, de Miranda do Douro.
Along this dam, like a bridge, we cross the state border, where neither border guards nor customs officers stop us.
And we are back in Portugal.
Before going to the city, we turn right to inspect the banks of the Douro River near the water.
Pleasure boats leave from this point in the season from March to November. During the tour, visitors are told about the flora, fauna and geology of the Douro River Canyon.
Unfortunately, our travels took place in December and not during the warmer months.
Tourists come from both banks of the Douro, so the inscriptions are both in Portuguese and in Spanish.
We stop at the entrance to the territory of the International Biological Station. This is how the station looks from the side and from above.
Back in Spain, we saw big birds in the sky. These are eagles and other birds of prey.
Although the flora and fauna are most interesting, geology is what makes Miranda do Douro truly special.
To explore the colorful coastal slopes 400 meters high on the Spanish bank of the river, we ascend a bit along the road.
The rock is covered with bright yellow spots, similar in color to sulfur deposits.
These spots form a pattern that resembles the Western Arabic 2 numeral.
In general, the rocks of this part of the Iberian Peninsula were formed about 480 million years ago in the Ordovician.
These are autognesis. That is, at first they were solidified pieces of magma that poured out from the depths, then compacted under the influence of high temperatures and pressures after sinking back down, and later they were again pushed out to the surface.
Recently, in the Miranda Mountains, zircon inclusions were discovered that are 620 million years old, that is, crystallized even before the onset of the Paleozoic era. These are the most ancient known rocks of the Central Iberian Zone.
We move even higher along the Serpentine and enter the site with an observation deck, from where the dam and the hydroelectric power plant can be seen clearly.
The buttress dam, 80 meters high and 263 meters long, began to operate in 1960.
Since the region is mountainous and the river banks are high, the area of the reservoir created by the dam is barely more than 1 square kilometer.
Although geographically half of the dam is in Spain, the 4-turbine hydroelectric power plant's underground powerhouse is located in Portugal.
The power plant was operated by the Energias de Portugal company.
In 2019, the company sold the Miranda hydropower plant along with 5 other stations on the Douro River to the French consortium for 2.2 billion euros.
Yet we go even higher to get to the city of Miranda do Douro itself.
Please note that the city name is written in 2 languages.
It may seem that the second language is Spanish due to this country's proximity.
But the second language is Mirandese. It developed 1,000 years ago in the mountainous regions separated from the rest of the country. The roots of the Mirandese language are in Vulgar Latin, which was spoken in the north of the Iberian Peninsula.
The Mirandese language has special phonology, morphology and syntax and differs significantly from both Spanish and Portuguese. The closest languages are Asturian and Leonese.
Since 1999, the Mirandese language has official status in this region, on an equal footing with Portuguese, and we have repeatedly come across road signs in both languages.
Finally, we enter the city of Miranda do Douro.
We leave the car near the hotel and go to see the old town before dark.
By the way, We stayed at the Flor do Douro Hotel.
Everything was comfortable. The Spanish bank of the river and even the road we arrived through can both be seen from the balcony.
Probably the view was better earlier, before the construction of a new building under the windows.
By the way, not only in Miranda do Douro, but also in other cities of the Iberian Peninsula, there are many beautiful views from high river banks, as well as the slopes of mountains and hills.
And this is reflected in the language. Miranda, Miradouro, and other similar words are derived from the verb mirar, to look.
And it just so happens to be a lot to see here.
The settlement on the hill between the rivers Douro and Fresno, which received the status of a city in 1286, was founded at the initiative of the King Dinis I of Portugal.
We saw a monument to this peace-loving king, also known as the Poet King, in Coimbra.
It was in Miranda do Douro in 1297 that Dinis signed the Treaty of Alcanis with Castile. On the Spanish side, Queen Maria de Molina signed the treaty on behalf of the young King Ferdinand IV.
This treaty established the border between Spain and Portugal, which remains almost unchanged to this day.
In the 16th century, Miranda do Douro became the center of the episcopal region of Trás-os-Montes, translated as beyond the mountains, in fact, the capital of this region.
Therefore, in 1552, the construction of the city cathedral began, which was completed in 1614, when the main altar was installed.
The front part of the cathedral is made of granite and is divided into 3 parts, 2 towers and a portal between them. Square towers have 3 levels. On the bottom, we see rectangular windows. In the middle, a large niche for the bell, and the upper level is located above the cornice.
The central facade is crowned with a balustrade. The portico has 2 columns on either side of the main entrance.
Around the cathedral there is an atrium surrounded by a balustrade.
In its plan, the cathedral looks like a Latin cross with 3 naves.
Behind the cathedral you can see the remains of the bishop's palace. And further the city park with fountains.
We go further and see an interesting building. It was built in the early 18th century in the Baroque style and was originally the church of a monastery of the Trinitarian order.
The architecture of the building is typical of Portuguese Baroque churches. The facade has the form of an arched portal and is surrounded by 2 columns of the Corinthian order on granite foundations. The portal is crowned with a window and 2 niches.
In 1999, the building of the former church was rebuilt to create a municipal library.
In the old town, besides the cathedral, 2 more churches have survived. Igreja da Misericordia, the Church of Compassion, was built in the 16th century and has many recent features in its architectural style.
The Church of Santa Cruz, aka the Holy Cross, was also built in the 16th century. After rebuilding, it acquired a Baroque facade with neoclassical elements.
We move in the direction of the hotel and find a small square where the Museum of the Mirandese land is located.
The museum was established in 1992 in a 15th century building that formerly housed the municipality, Passos do Concelho.
2 statues can be seen in the middle of the square.
One of them resembles the hooded figures of fantasy.
This is a traditional Mirandese costume made from wool that has been treated to be waterproof and very warm.
The top of the suit is an original rectangular detail that combines the hood and the collar. It is called capa de honras, calling back to it being worn only by very important people.
The costume was created in the Middle Ages to protect against cold winters in the mountains, now serving as a cultural symbol of that time.
On the edge of the historical part of the city, we can see the remains of the castle.
Miranda do Douro is located in the border area, and therefore the castle was built there in the 12th century, if not earlier.
The castle had a deep well inside.
In the 13th century, in addition to the castle, walls were also built around the city.
The castle successfully withstood several wars caused by dynastic disputes between Portugal and Spain, but was seriously damaged during the 1762 war. While we are examining the ruins of the castle and leaving the city, we will tell you about this war.
This conflict between Portugal and Spain was called the Fantastic War because it was not clear why and for what they fought. There were no battles during the war and no territorial changes after it.
The Fantastic War was part of the 7 Years' War of 1752 to 1763, which Churchill later called the First World War, as it involved not only most European countries, but also their colonies around the world.
On the one hand, England and Prussia fought. On the other hand, the so-called alliance of the three empresses, Maria Theresa of Austria, Elizabeth of Russia, and the chief mistress of King Louis XV, Madame de Pompadour.
Portugal and Spain were initially neutral, but after the death of King of Spain Ferdinand VI, who was married to the daughter of the King of Portugal, his brother Charles III, ascended to the throne, who recalled that he, like the French king, was also a Bourbon and wanted to join the fight.
He was told that it would be best if Spain attacked England's trading partner, Portugal.
In May 1762, the Spanish army invaded Portugal with the declarative goal of friendly help to the Portuguese to get rid of the English tyranny.
On May 6, the Spaniards laid siege to Miranda, and during the shelling on May 8, the cannonball fell into a gunpowder storage of 20 tons.
The castle literally burst into the air. 400 people died, and Miranda capitulated.
In May, the cities of Bragança and Chaves were also captured. You can already watch films about these cities on our channel.
The Spanish army moved on light, without provisions, as the liberators were expected to be fed free of charge.
But the Portuguese had a differing opinion, and the Spanish foragers began to be targeted. The peasants left the villages, armed themselves, and went over to guerrilla warfare in the mountains.
The Spanish army tried to capture Porto, but was stopped on the outskirts of the city.
Thousands of Spanish soldiers deserted, as the Portuguese paid money to every deserter. And if one joined the Portuguese army, they paid twice as much.
A British expeditionary force soon arrived in Portugal.
The allied Anglo-Portuguese troops were led by a London-born German Count William Schaumburg-Lippe.
He held a defensive campaign without engaging in battles and forced the invading Franco-Spanish army to leave Portugal in November, 6 months after the invasion began.
The greatest ordeal of the Fantastic War fell on Miranda. The castle was never rebuilt. The bishop moved to Bragança.
The city became a backwater, and surprisingly, it helped Miranda to Douro become a museum city.
There are still many cities in Portugal that take you centuries back in history.
Therefore, your guides.
Tatiana Andreeva,
Konstantin Krasovsky,
and Leo Krasovsky continue further to show you these cities and tell their stories.
You can already watch films about cities such as Bragança, Chaves, Guarda, and Guimarães.
And soon you'll see films about the Portuguese cities of Belmonte, Monsanto, and others.
To not miss out, subscribe to the Foreign Visitors View channel, put likes and share the videos with your friends.
See you on the screens of your computers and smartphones.